Okay, so Adam Aron just dropped a bit of a bombshell on investors. I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what this means. I'm going to put it into context. What Adam Aron just said, what is likely to happen next. And I think personally, now could be a definitive moment. I personally think this is very good, very bullish. But we'll have to wait and see. Come to your own conclusions, come to your own opinions. I will let you know what I am doing with my AMC position. Am I adding more? Am I buying some call options? What am I doing? So, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. So, let's start with there. The bombshell Adam Aron just dropped. And he actually did not say much, but what he implies is pretty strong. Adam Aron writes on his X account, AMC will announce Q4 and full year 2023 earnings February 28th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I realize many of you have wanted my take as to what is going on, but the best time to do so is on this year's earnings call. This year ending earnings call. Listen to the webcast. I'll have much to say. The last line, I'll have much to say. Ooh, what the heck? What does that mean? Okay, couple of different things that could mean right from the start. Couple different things. First thing that comes to mind is probably going to call out the shorts. That's probably going to happen. That sounds like something. Now, keep in mind, AMC hired private investigators to talk about or to look into the short activity in AMC Stock. This was a while back. We did not hear anything about this. So maybe it's possible we hear something about that. Probably, likely, in some degree, short sellers get brought up in this conversation. Now, I actually think the biggest thing that is going to be announced is a commitment to not diluting shareholders and stabilizing AMC stock. I mean, mathematically, it's something they have to do, right? Because AMC, Adam Aron, knows they have to raise capital. They have to. They have literally no choice but to raise capital. And the only way that they can do that and to actually raise enough money for it to make sense to potentially avoid, a bankruptcy-like situation is to get the share price higher on AMC. That's it. That's the only thing they can do. That's the only thing that they have is get the share price higher. Because diluting shareholders at, let's say, $4 per share really doesn't do much. I mean, if you sell 40 million shares at $4 a pop, you're going to raise $160 million. That's not going to do anything. If you raise, 40 million shares at $10 a piece, that's $400 million. That makes a little bit of an impact, but preferably you'd want to be raising shares at like $15 or $20 in a perfect world. And that would be, $20, you raise 40 million shares, that's $800 million. That actually puts a dent in the debt. Now, in a weird way, like a Carvana, right? The share price went way up. Carvana was able to sell stock and pay off, all of basically their debt. And everyone looked and said, hey, the stock's in a much different position now. Even though we just had a lot of dilution, the stock is higher value now. So normally when you get dilution, it's not good, right? It dilutes your ownership. It's never going to be good. But when you get dilution that fundamentally improves the company, that's different. Now, with the recent things we have seen Adam Aron do, it has not improved AMC's financial position enough to justify the dilution, right? And that's been a big problem, and that has weighed on AMC stock. Let's say if Adam Aron can get the share price of AMC higher, then maybe dilution would make sense above $10 per share. And maybe that would actually help the situation. Now, Pulte, he has 3.1 million followers on X. He says, sounds good. And he did recently take a position in AMC, and I'm positive actually, they've been in communication in some capacity or another on X or whatnot, and it's clear you have to stop diluting shareholders. So I think the writing is on the wall. I've been saying this for a while. I think I was a little bit early here, but I think the writing is truly on the wall now that we're going to get a commitment to not diluting shareholders, and that's going to do the same thing that it did back in 2022 when they gave us a commitment not to dilute shareholders. What happened? The stock went from these are, adjusted for the split or whatnot. The stock went from about $70 per share up to about $185. Now, if that were to happen again, that could put AMC at about $15 per share. I think that's actually pretty reasonable, but we do have the short positions actually climbing as of lately. If you're a viewer of this channel, I think the short interest percentage of free float is like 200%, but hey, I could be wrong. Even the Ortex data is estimating the short interest has grown about 40% over the course of just the last, 2 months or so. Short interest has kind of been working up almost every single day. So, yeah, that's what I think is coming. I think we're probably not going to get the best guidance. We're probably not going to get the best numbers. I don't think there's going to be anything exciting on a fundamental basis as far as that is concerned. Maybe there's good news in regards to the popcorn business or some other endeavor out there, but it's not going to be substantial to AMC stock in my personal opinion. The only thing that, could make sense is an effort to get AMC stock higher. And again, there's a couple ways they can do that, but really the big one is just telling markets, hey, we're going to stop, selling AMC stock. That'd be crazy if AMC said, oh, we're going to do a buyback. That would honestly be wild to say, yeah, we sold stock at much higher prices. We think the stock is undervalued. Now we're going to buy the stock back. And they do have authorization to sell a lot of shares. So if they did do a buyback and get the stock higher, and then sell stock, I mean, arbitrarily, that's probably not a bad strategy. But I don't know if that's exactly what you would call legal. We'll have to see. I might have to do some looking into that over this weekend. But nonetheless, I do think this is a big bombshell that Aron just dropped. Something that you need to be mindful of. This last sentence, again, I'll have much to say. And then add here Pulte with 3.1 million followers on X. He runs the Pulte group. I mean, he says sounds good. He was calling on Aron to talk to him, right? I'm sure they did communicate. I'm sure they did talk, and I'm sure they concocted something that, is potentially going to be really good for AMC stock investors. We'll have to wait and see. Some of this is obviously speculation. All of this is actually speculation, but I think it's reasonable speculation, right? I think it's very reasonable speculation in my personal opinion. Now, let's take a look at the sentiment barometers for AMC stock over here on StockTwits. You can see sentiment currently at 46. Yesterday it was 51, so a little bit lower today than yesterday. Message volume is at 55. Yesterday it was at 59, so a little bit on the lower side there as well. And the participation ratio is at 54, which is actually pretty dang good for AMC. More people are talking about AMC right now, and that's the thing that I've always said is the message volume and the participation ratio. These are the most important things. I don't care at all what sentiment does. Does not matter to me. I really could care less if sentiment was at 0. I don't care if everyone's bearish, but if everyone's talking about AMC, opinions can change based on what happens, based on what the stock is doing. So keep that in mind. So I am pretty dang excited about what could be coming next for AMC. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like, hopefully, I mean, this is the change that we've been waiting for, right? We'll see. Maybe you get Pulte in here, some influential people in AMC, and maybe that does spark a change. I mean, we'll have to see. You have an interesting flow sentiment today. 3 orders totaling $51.68 thousand. $5 calls for March 15th. 2 of them, around $20,000, $14,000, and then you have a $450 call for next week as well, around $13,000. All in all, pretty positive option activity that we are seeing now. As far as the short interest percentage of free float, that is at 12.21%. So it's actually been increasing. For anyone that maybe has not seen these numbers in a while, you were at 7 or 8% short interest. Now you're at over 12%. I believe we're over 200% short, but that's just my personal opinion from following the stock every day. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. We do have $150 million worth of short positions currently in AMC stock. Days to cover 1.78, 30.57 million shares that are currently sold short. Shares out on loan 32.53 million. Cost to borrow 1.04%, utilization of 50.1%, and a short score of 64.05 out of 100. You do have a cost to borrow max at about 1.5% as well. And a lot of other news agencies like Morningstar are picking up on this. It says AMC stock has tumbled. CEO Adam Aron says he'll have much to say, quote, much to say on the company's Q4 earnings call. Yes, we better get something, some kind of questions being answered on this dang earnings call. That is Adam Aron's number one job right now. I talked about this before. That is his number one job, to get AMC stock higher, guys. So there is that. For the Stocko Tracker data, we do have a decent amount of option activity expiring this Friday, but we're probably going to get a lot of option activity for next week's expiration as well. Got about 13,000 calls currently in the money for next week, and about 48,000 calls out the money for next week. In the money puts at 3,400, out the money puts at about 22,000. Now, obviously, it doesn't make sense to be in puts in AMC at this point. 0 cents at all, in my personal opinion. Now, trying to judge what's going to happen with AMC after earnings is a fool's move, but I'm a bit of a fool sometimes. So I think AMC stock is going to do well, especially if Adam Aron says no more dilution. That's the reason why AMC stock is where it is. Adam Aron can say it's because the box office. He can say it's because this or that. Obviously, a bad box office has a role to play here, but it's the dilution that makes AMC such an easy short. Like, if I was a hedge fund, I mean, why not be short in AMC? If we get a commitment to not diluting shareholders for a period of time, then it makes a lot more sense to be long in AMC. So my personal opinion, what I'm looking to do, if we take a look at the option chain here, I'm not going to play anything that's super near to the money. I'm not going to play anything that's likely in March 15th. Let's see. I mean, the calls are so cheap. You're looking at like an $8 call for $16. Personally, I probably want to get more time here, maybe go out to June. The options do get more expensive then, but they're still not bad. Like, the $8 call is about $52 expiring in June. If AMC goes to $10, you're going to make 400% on that, because that's going to be a $200 option at that point. You paid $52. You would have to see AMC go to about $13 per share to get 1,000% on this. I think AMC could go higher than that. So I do think some of these options make some sense. Now, I might do a little bit of a combo here, go a little very near term for, let's say, maybe not next week. Yeah, the premiums just don't make a whole lot of sense for next week. Like a $6 call for $5, $5.50 call for 10, $5 call for 21. It just doesn't look very attractive, in my personal opinion. Based on what percentage move that would be. That would be a big percentage move next week. Yeah, so going out further makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, even going out to June, even the $10 call at $38 makes a lot more sense. Maybe April, yeah, $7 call for $25. April probably makes the most sense, if I'm being honest here. But these are just, I mean, that's what I'm looking to do. My portfolio is going to be different than yours. My, what I want to do is going to be a lot different than yours. I want to get a little bit of extra time, because if a rally starts next week, I don't want to be just trapped into next week or trapped into in March. I'm really playing the IV that could, run up, the extrinsic value that could be added to these contracts. Intrinsic value, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is the value that is perceived by the market. So it's like, if you buy a $10 call on AMC, that premium you're paying right now, the price of that contract, that's all extrinsic value. Now, if you're buying a $2 call on AMC, there's there's what, $2.87, $287 per contract of intrinsic value, right? Internal, external, internal and intrinsic, external, extrinsic. And yeah. So long story short, I'm just trying to play on a bet on extrinsic value here, and a increase that some of these contracts could see. I think it makes a lot of sense. At this point, buying the dip in AMC for me personally does not do much as far as actually, move the average of the position. So yeah, I think I'm going to ride out the shares and go in with some options. But that's not financial advice. You will lose all of your money if you trade options. Trading options is speculative. It is gambling. It is kin to gambling at the very least. It's never something that I would say to do. That's just my personal opinion. I think that's the most attractive risk to reward kind of way to play this with some extra time, considering I believe AMC stock will be going higher. But that's just my personal opinion, guys. You guys do what you want. Feel free to do whatever the heck you want. But just know, if you trade options in AMC, you will lose money, and you will probably lose all of your money. So if you do trade the options, number one thing option traders will tell you is be prepared to lose all of your money. So that's going to do it for this video. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.